The Doe Patrol, are these cases still open, closed? Are we still looking for foul play in some? The ones that we do for In Memoriams, the Doe Patrol, are all closed cases. That's when we do In Memoriams. Until they are, of course, I guess in Zoe's case, it's not closed, but they have somebody in custody. That was good enough for me. It's closed in my mind. Yes, closed in my mind. Whereas some of these, they're still outstanding. Either I don't know what happened or nobody knows what happened. So we're not going to do In Memoriams then until until we are sure that everything is completed with the case. Because once you do an In Memoriam, people think that everything's done. We don't want to give that impression to anybody for cases that are not finished and disappearances that have not been completed. Let's go to this, what we're going to be doing this Friday. As I've already mentioned, this is going to be a Friday in which we do an In Memoriam for Crystal Morrison. That was she disappeared back in 2012. I interviewed her sister Michelle in August of 2017. The episode of her disappearance came out in August 2017. And then Crystal's remains, which I talked about at the time when this happened, her remains were found in the area of Concord, North Carolina, approximately a quarter mile from where she was last seen in December of 2019. Since then, I have had a chance to talk to her sister Michelle, my guest back then, a few times over Messenger, and then just recently we spoke on the phone, and I told her that I would be doing an In Memoriam for Crystal. Now, what you're going to hear this Friday is there will be a new introduction. There'll be a new introduction right at the beginning, that little part that I do before the music starts. But after the music will be the original theme, whatever you want to call it, from back in 2017 when I recorded it. And then it'll be the original summary of the case from 2017 when I recorded it. But then the Unfound news part will be new from March 2020. And then the interview will be the interview that I did with Michelle back in August 2017. However, the summation afterwards will be new commentary after it. And it's a little long. And what I do is what I do in that summary after the interview will be I will point out where I got things wrong and why I think I did. I'm more than happy to admit when I've looked at things the wrong way. I'm more, when I've made mistakes, and that's what I call these mistakes. And I try to analyze why the theory or theories that I had for Crystal's disappearance did not end up being true. And so you will hear those after. We have no pride here. We have no ego. We're trying to learn here. And the only way you can learn is by first admitting either you made mistakes or you don't know. And so I wanted to make that very clear that I realized that I got it wrong. And here are the things that I got wrong and why I think I did so. And then how can we apply what we've learned to all of the other disappearances that Unfound has covered and will cover. Here at Unfound, this is constant education. This is continuing education from episode to episode. We're not just learning about these disappearances and finding out new information, but we're trying to learn things that can help people solve their own disappearances. So that's what you're going to hear Friday. So once again, new intro, music, the original opening, along with summary of the case, the original summary, new Unfound news, And then the original interview that I did with Michelle back in August 2017. And then after that, a new recording done just yesterday or the day before of why I got things wrong and the mistakes and things that I did not, I should have looked at in a different way, and maybe why I did, and what can we learn from those things. Alexis, who I believe is in here, asked me, because of what's going on with this coronavirus, we're just going to call it COVID 19, because that's the official name now. It's a coronavirus. COVID-19 is a specific coronavirus. Will crime go up or down due to COVID-19? Being that, there aren't going to be a lot of people on the streets. A lot of people are going to be staying at home. What are criminals going to do, etc.? Alexis, I have to admit, I don't know if I have enough criminology experience to really answer that. I'm a missing persons expert. If you're going to ask me, do I think that missing persons cases are going to go up in that time? I think it's possible. I think it's, possible. But I don't know if it comes from Shakespeare or somebody else, but there is the saying, familiarity breeds contempt. And, and I'm not here to be a family counselor or marriage counselor or anything, but it does occur to me that there could be relationships going on out in the world right now where the reason people are in the relationship is because they don't see much of each other. And being of what's going on here with a lot of things getting shut down and people having to stay at home, and then money's not coming in and people are dipping into their savings and they're worrying about this and they're worrying about that and everything, and they're in very closed quarters and they have no place to go, I can certainly see where the tension would rise. I can certainly see that. The other thing you have to understand is the way I understand crime is the best way to guarantee that a place gets broken into is when nobody's in the building. So with all of these bars and restaurants getting shut down and everything, there's still food in there. There's still, I don't know if there'd be money in there, but there's equipment in there, technology in there, whatever else. And, nobody minding the store, forgive the pun, no security guard, anything like that. I think it does lend itself to opportunists breaking into these places that would usually otherwise be open. It's called the broken window theory of crime. And that was something that, came out of New York City in the 80s into the 90s. That, New York City had been going down, crime crazy, and just letting things go. And what they started doing was fixing everything up. And because of that, and, actually taking care of buildings that were in disrepair and all of that. And it's amazing how the crime went down when people actually started to care about how things looked and paid attention to all these things. So there are going to be a lot of unoccupied buildings over the next at least month, if not longer. And I think that would lend itself to more, what would they be, burglaries and break-ins and thefts and things like that. That's just a prediction. Whereas if those places were occupied with employees or patrons or whoever else, I think there would be a less likely chance of those places being robbed or, things like that. So Carrie says, locked doors only stop an honest thief. Yeah. If you watch anything on on YouTube about break-ins and shootings, like active self-protection and everything, is that the most reliable defense toward a place getting robbed are people actually being there. And when you don't have people in these buildings, then the odds of them getting broken into go up. So that's as far as just general crime. Now, as far as what's going to happen in homes with people living together and everything, you know, it depends on what kind of relationship you're in, what kind of house you have, and what kind of person you are, and everything. I could certainly see crime going up, especially if people get desperate. I don't think there's any, you know, my opinion on everything that's going on. I don't think, yeah, ASP Johnny knows, ASPP. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels, Johnny. You know, I don't think there's any reason to be desperate regarding all of this. However, I know that there are people out there who are desperate, who already feel desperate, who are going to feel desperate. They have a tendency to be desperate. And those kinds of people, I think, are more likely to do things against the law than people who aren't. You know, fear breeds people behaving irrationally. It very well may be a wash because people aren't out there, they're staying at home, less crime. But it may be a wash. But I'm sure, Alexis, I'm sure somebody is going to be studying this because somebody who you're never going to have a chance to probably, you know, hopefully not. This may be the only time that this happens in the next 100 years. Who knows? So I'm sure that there are some criminologists and people at the FBI who are keeping an eye on those stats very closely to see what they can learn, for sure. Just as I think a lot of places are, retail places, technology places, internet usage places, you know, all monitoring this because this is such a unique situation. They want to see what people do under these circumstances. Just as things were analyzed back in 2001 for September 11th and other things that happen that affect a wide range of people, like a hurricane hits or an earthquake, you know, things like that. So Alexis, I really can't say. I just have just my own logical thoughts on it. It may be a wash. It may go up and go down, but I can certainly see reasons why it would go up.